Good morning, friends, my dear students. Today, let us take reported speech, which is one of the items available in the second PU textbook. Hope all of you are happy at home and you are free, and I feel that this reported speech or this exercise will enter your mind easily, because in a class or in the class what happens is that you are already obsessed with the several items. But since you are at home, you are free and you can think of what that is going on. And when you think and refer to the textbooks already that you have, I am of the opinion that you will understand this in a better manner. Now, when you think of reported speech, first thing is that you must have the sufficient knowledge or the good knowledge of tense. Second is that the verbs, principal auxiliaries or main auxiliary verbs, as well as modals, both these are very much important. Tense in the sense auxiliaries automatically come there. But at the same time, I stress the point that the helping verbs and the forms of the verbs, all these are very, very important. Now, look at the example. Mohan said, I want to become a doctor. It is direct speech. Remember that reported speech is actually reporting the actual words of the speaker. Reporting of the actual words of the speaker. Direct speech, when we say the direct words or the actual words of the speaker. Now we report or we put it in indirect speech, hence the direct speech of the speaker has been reported. Mohan said, I want to become a doctor. So very simple example, and this example has got Mohan said one part, I want to become a doctor, the second part. And usually, to make you understand, what I do is that I tell you, and even many grammar books suggest the same, that Mohan said is the introductory part of the direct speech. Mohan is subject, said is verb. I want to become a doctor, it is the direct speech of the person Mohan here. Hence it is direct speech. Now look at the second, indirect speech. The same has been reported, or it is also called indirect speech. Mohan said that he wanted to become a doctor. So very naturally, already you had the knowledge of reported speech in class 8th, 9th, 10th, and in the second page once again refreshing and remembering what that you have learnt, and more sophisticated, more pieces of knowledge have been given here. Now, second sentence, indirect speech, it has got main clause and subordinate clause. Mohan said is the principal clause, or it is called main clause. That he wanted to become a doctor is the subordinate clause, or we can also call it dependent clause. Mohan said, I have just told you, Mohan said principal clause. It can also be called main clause. It can also be called independent clause. That he wanted to become a doctor is a subordinate clause. It can also be called dependent clause. It depends on the first main clause or independent clause. Now, note the changes that are available. Points for indirect speech. No comma after the reporting verb. The reporting verb here is said. And this reporting verb, it is not always said. Here it is a statement, and what Mohan said, I want to become a doctor in the direct speech. The same has been reported, and it is a statement of Mohan, and it is a statement not he has made directly to somebody, hence it is said is enough here to make us understand. That is why it is a reporting verb. Reporting verb is not always said in all conditions, because types of sentences available, statements available, yes or no questions available, WH questions available, then imperative sentences available, exclamatory sentences available, and that is why all the time it is not said. Please understand this fact very carefully, that he wanted to become a doctor. So this I is Mohan. Naturally, this E has a connection with the person who has spoken. That is he, the third person, masculine gender pronoun, that has a connection with Mohan, who is the speaker here. Mohan said that he wanted to become a doctor, and want is the main verb. To become is an infinitive. He wanted to become a doctor. So want is in simple present. This direct speech, I want to become a doctor, is in simple present, and the same has been put in indirect speech, or it is also called reported speech, and want has been changed to wanted, and it has been changed to simple past. First sentence is available in simple present, the same has been changed to simple past, to become a doctor. And this infinitive construction doesn't change, because this is always the same when there is a finite verb. Wanted, want to become a doctor, and want has been changed to wanted to become. That doesn't change, because though it is a verb, it doesn't change, because the verb want has a connection with the subject, and to become doesn't have a direct connection with the subject. Now, I have told you now, no comma after the reporting verb, and if at all question marks available in yes or no questions, here it is not available. Yes or no questions, WH questions, question marks are available, but question marks are not available in the indirect speech. And this topic, of course, let us discuss later. Remember that inverted comma is also not available. Here inverted comma available, I want to become a doctor, inverted comma available, and remember that this inverted comma has been placed in the direct speech after the full stop in statements, and if they are questions, or if it is a question, after the question mark inverted comma available. Exclamation mark, after the exclamation mark we have inverted comma. So remember that even inverted commas are not available in the indirect speech or in the reported speech. And verb is past this point. Third person pronoun has been used here, and if exclamation marks available, no exclamation mark. Yes or no questions have the conjunction if or whether. That of course I will discuss later. Now let us move on to tense, which you are thorough with, because you have already learnt tense, and especially in the first PU tense was taught. Simple present, direct speech, DS in the sense direct speech, IS in the sense indirect speech. The boy said, I like sweets, and the same has been reported in direct speech here. The boy said that he liked sweets. Many students are not thorough with the forms of the verbs, which of course is a problem. If you do not know the verb forms, you will find it difficult to change from direct to indirect, particularly at the level where verb has to be used. The main verb, when you want to change, if it is a regular verb, it is rather easy, but if it is an irregular verb, you will find difficulties. But here it is not irregular verb, it is a regular verb. The boy said, I like sweets, simple present, and main verb like, it is a statement, and the same, the boy said that, introductory verb or reporting verb, that he liked sweets, simple past, changed to simple past. So remember, from simple present, the tense is changed, the sentence has been changed to simple past. Next, let us move on to one example is available here, and more examples can be done later, more exercise can be done later. Present continuous. When you think of present continuous, here only one example available, and direct speech, he said, I am buying a new pen, and you know that present continuous can be written with is, present helping verb is, present continuous can be written with are helping verb are. This is I, the first person singular pronoun, hence am is quite essential and it is required there. Is for all singular subjects except I, are for all plural subjects, and that you have to remember. This is tense part. He said, I am buying a new pen. The same has been reported. He said that he was buying a new pen. He said, so this once again, he, as I have already told in the example, there is a connection between the first part of the, that is main clause available there, first part of the direct speech, and the second part of the direct speech, where the same has been changed to reported speech, and the main clause and the subordinate clause both have connections, and that is why you should not forget these facts. He said that he was buying a new pen, and this he has a connection here, the boy has a connection here, which I have just discussed. He was buying a new pen. So common helping verb in the past continuous for am and is, for both it is was. Singular, I am buying a new pen, the sentence is available here, though it is here I, which takes am the helping verb, but when it goes to past, all the singular subjects and including I, that these two takes in singular subjects and I, they take was the helping verb, and this is present participle form, ing form, a new pen, present continuous tense. Now next is present perfect. Once again, direct speech. He said, I have read this novel. Some students read this, read. I have read, it is past participle form or V3 form. I have read this novel. In direct speech, he said that he had read that novel. Now you notice the fact that here in all these examples, the first introductory example or the beginning example, simple present, present continuous, while considering all these, you have got another word here, the very demonstrative pronoun, or here it functions as an adjective. This is also important, this is to be noted. He said, I have read this novel. In direct speech, he said that he had read that novel. Present perfect, the tense has been changed to past perfect. He said, I have read this novel. He said that he had read that novel. So this point is also to be noted. Next, present perfect continuous. He said, I have been waiting here for a long time. In that speech, he said that he had been waiting there for a long time. Once again, the tense, present perfect continuous tense, has been changed to past perfect continuous. Past perfect continuous. He said that he pronoun have had, just present perfect and past perfect both in the same manner it is available. Have has been changed to had. Here also have has been changed to had, and this been doesn't change because that is an auxiliary required there to say that it is continuous, present perfect continuous. Only the main auxiliary that gets changed. Waiting there, here has been changed to there for a long time. So dear students, observe the facts that not only tense, even other points have to be taken into consideration. The tense, then the very ingredients of the direct speech like commas, question marks and exclamation marks, these are also to be remembered. At the same time, there are other points which I am going to write on the blackboard now. Those have to be taken into consideration. So students, please remember that reported speech is not a mechanical exercise. It is an exercise where the direct speech of the actual speaker has to be conveyed, reported properly. Otherwise people may not understand anything, and that is why you must understand that it is not a mechanical exercise. In the text you have been given three variety for the sake of introduction. Script form is available there, quote form is available, speech bubble is also available. All the three, when you report when you report the same to somebody, when you put it in reported speech, it is not a mechanical exercise. Proper conveying, proper communication is very, very essential. Now let us move on to some more examples. Before I move on to examples, let me tell you the items that have to be changed, that can be done quickly. Now remember, certain words expressing nearness, are changed into words expressing distance. For example, not for example, these are compulsory. This, that, these, those, now, then, here, there, thus, so, or in that way. Today, that day, tomorrow, the next day, yesterday, the previous day, last night, the night before, or previous night. Ago, before. Now verbs have to be changed. Do or does changes to did. Is or am, was, are, were. Has or have changes to had. Did, had done. Has or have done. Had done. Was doing. Had been doing. Next, modals. Shall, should or would. Will, would. May, might. Can, could. Must, had to. So these are some of the changing items from direct to indirect that you have to remember. This, that, these, those, now, then, etc. You can understand this because I have already expressed, and these are very important because if you make mistakes at this level or these items, naturally the meaning is not properly conveyed. If the meaning is not properly conveyed, naturally people won't understand. In spoken language or in conversation it is possible, but in written language this is very important, and that is why you must know, as I have said at the beginning, you must have a thorough knowledge of the tense, you must have a thorough knowledge of the helping verbs and the forms of the verbs, and at the same time the changes take place with regard to the words expressing nearness, they have been changed into expressing distance. These are also very important factors. Now let us move on to furthermore examples from the text itself. Alok said, we must save water. Now look at this sentence. After the very fundamental knowledge of the tense, the helping verbs, the words that change from direct to indirect, the modals as well, you must understand now the types of sentences. And now the first sentence, it is a statement. and how to understand that it is a statement. All these items have been taught already, and statement is nothing but it is an expression of a person, what that is directly available, directly thought by him, or what he has understood. Now Alok said we must save water. It is a statement, and this statement has to be changed into reported speech. Now once again, you should not forget that who has said. Alok has said, or he said. This you should not forget, and if you forget, naturally your indirect speech or reported speech will go wrong. We must save water, and what he has said is that Alok has made a statement which is common to all. It is a statement, it is common to all. We must, and I have told you that must has been changed to had to. This must modal auxiliary available, and there I have said what are the items to be changed into indirect speech. Had to, because it is said in the past in the reported speech. Reported speech we speak somewhere at some time, and that is why that has been changed to past, had to. But look at this example. This is not an example which has been given in the text to change into past. Why? The question automatically comes to us, because the statement speaks of a fact which is universally accepted, and such examples are available in the text, that what is universally accepted, that is maintained in the same manner. Universal aspect, habitual action, routine actions, these are not changed into past. In page number 28 it has been expressed. Now Alok said, let us write the same into reported speech. Alok said, and it requires the reported speech. Alok emphasized the need to save water. So there is a rule, of course, that certain words have to be changed from direct to indirect, certain auxiliaries have to be changed from direct to indirect, certain models have to be changed from direct to indirect, and if you stick to that particular rule, you have to stick, of course, but all the time it is not possible. That is why I have told you that it is not a mechanical exercise. That is why you must understand, whenever you must understand the text, you must understand the tense, that whether it is a universal action, whether it is a habitual action, whether it is a routine one, these have to be understood. Now Alok said we must save water, in the sense it is not only to Alok, it is not only to a particular person, it is acceptable to all people, and that is why Alok emphasized the need to save water is the reported speech available in the text. Why? Because it is a matter which is universally accepted, and it is very important from the point of a human being that water should not be wasted, because it is not simply available. Water is an elixir of life. C.V. Raman, the great scientist, has already said, and we know it right from Vedic period. Alok emphasized the need to save water, and it is actually, though it is a statement available, it has a sort of, or it has the thought of an imperative mood. Next. Sorry. The general said to the soldiers, bomb the enemy camp. Now look at this sentence. It is an imperative, it is an order. Imperative sentence is the main heading. It has got orders, it has got requests, it has got instructions. Now, the general said to the soldiers, bomb the enemy camp is an order. Now, when you change the same into indirect speech, you must understand that it is an order given by the general to the soldiers, and that is why as I have told you, that reporting verb, this question or reporting verb is going on changing. It is not always said, which I have said at the beginning. Mohan said, first example when I have given you, I have told it is not always said. Depending on the condition and the context of the sentence, the reporting verb changes. For example, Alok said, now Alok said that they had to save water. You may write, but it is not acceptable, because who are those people? They in the sense human beings, and which means all of us, and that is why we cannot say that only a certain group of people has to change, has to save water. Instead, all people, all human beings need to save water. It is not possible for us to say that Alok said that, etc., etc. Instead, Alok emphasized the need to save water. In the same manner, here also the reporting verb has to be changed, and that is why the important factors, along with which we have discussed already, along with those, the important factors that you have to remember. And one more important factor is that this reporting verb, and that reporting verb is suitable depending on the context, or we have to think of which reporting verb can be used there. Now, general said to the soldiers, bomb the enemy camp, in the sense, immediately our mind has to think of what the reporting verb has to be used in the indirect speech, and that reporting verb is nothing but order. The general ordered the soldiers to bomb the enemy camp. So look at the sentence. It is an imperative sentence, and that is why imperative sentence is an order. Since it is an order, we have to use ordered, the past form of the verb order, the soldiers. And then look at this part. Imperative sentences take infinitive verb, or soldiers, the general ordered the soldiers to bomb the enemy camp. So this is an infinitive construction. All imperative sentences take infinitive verbs, and they do not have subjects after the first part of the sentence. The general ordered the soldiers, the first part of the sentence, and that part has here in this sentence the subject, the general ordered verb, the soldiers object available. It is the first part of the sentence. The second part, where it begins with an infinitive construction, the verb is changed to infinitive, bomb, to bomb the enemy camp. So remember, imperative sentence has got infinitive constructions after the main clause, after the principal clause. This is very important with regard to imperative sentences. Wherever imperative sentences available, remember the second part very carefully. When you write, please don't commit mistakes. Now let us move on to the next sentence. Next example. Aniket said, "Can I go out to play?" Now, this is another type statement. First one, second one, imperative type. The third one, Aniket said, "Can I go out to play?" It is an yes or no question. Here once again, some students commit mistakes, and the areas where problems occur are understanding the very direct speech. Can I go out to play begins with a modal auxiliary present, and can I go out to play, or may I go out to play, or any other principal auxiliary or auxiliaries, primary auxiliaries or modals. All these are modals, all these auxiliaries, modals or primary auxiliaries, if they are used in, or one is used in one of the sentences, remember that it is an yes or no question. Yes or no question is nothing but the question that begins with an auxiliary verb, either modals or primary auxiliaries. After that, the subject is available, helping verb, subject, main verb, and then the helping verb, subject, main verb, and then the other items are available there. Sentences can be lengthy or small one or short one. Now, Aniket said, "Can I go out to play?" It is an yes or no question. And remember, if you can't write said there, because Aniket, can I go out to play is a question which requires permission. And if he asks his parents, parents have to give permission. If he asks his teacher, the teacher has to give permission. And that is why you cannot write Aniket said, and this is what I am stressing further and further, or I am keeping on stressing this fact, because students forget this fact. It is not said there, Aniket asked. And after that, after Aniket asked, it requires a conjunction, because that is the method that is available or required to change yes or no question into reported speech, or which is also called indirect speech. So Aniket asked, and then which is the conjunction is a question, and you can use very easily if where no problem is available and spelling mistakes will not occur. If or whether, let me write, because another conjunction is also available, but whether, when you write, students must remember the spelling WHETHER. You cannot write WEATHER, that is different, and that is why whenever I teach the students, I stress the fact, use if, because you may commit mistake with regard to the other conjunction, that is whether. If you remember, well and good, no problem. So Aniket asked if I changes to. This item I have already discussed. I reference to Aniket. Aniket asked if he could. Can changes to could. Go out to play. Full stop, no question mark. So remember, the first part and the second part, there is a connection which I have already told you, and once again here I stress the same for the reason that after statements, when we move on to yes or no questions, you forget the ingredients of reported speech or whatever the points that we have discussed already, the important points which you forget sometimes, and that is why here I stress it very forcefully that when you change the direct to indirect of all yes or no questions, remember this conjunction if or whether is compulsory, and that shows that it is an yes or no question, and it is I is changed to he because it is Aniket, the boy, the male, and that is why masculine gender. Can changed to could, I have already told you. Shall changes to should or would because there are two possibilities available, and that is why shall to should or would. Will, would only, not should, may, might. Can, could, must, had to. Could go out to play. So no question mark, no inverted comma, only full stop. Now next let us move on to the next example. The mother said to her son, where have you left the keys? So remember the tense once again, tense part which I have been stressing again and again because can, could, present to past. Here we must save the water where emphasized past is available, and this part the need to save water, that is a very common universal fact. Here ordered available to say that it is in the past. Here could is available to make it past. Now look at this. The mother said to her son, where have you left the keys? It is a WH question, the another type. The mother said to her son. So this is mother female to her son male, that you have to remember because connections are available when you change from direct to indirect. Where have you left the keys? WH word where, after that helping verb have, you subject, left main verb, and then of course the other items available, object or whatever it may be. Now change the same into indirect speech. The mother. Now look at once again that mother said to her son, that you cannot write because it is a question, and when you write the question you don't require either said or any other words. Instead, when you change the indirect speech of WH questions, you don't require conjunctions other than what is available there. I have thought to speak of conjunction, sorry for speaking the verb. Where the conjunction where the WH word itself functions as conjunction. The mother said to her son, where have you left the keys? So actually it is a question. Here the direct speech, the speaker's words have been directly written there. But when we put it in the reported speech, the mother asked her son, where this functions as conjunction, and of course question is also available. Here it functions as conjunction, where he had left the keys. So think of this. The mother asked her son where he had left the keys. Present perfect available, have left. Past perfect available, he had left. So think of the change, or make note of the changes that are taking place. The mother asked her son, main clause, where he had left the keys. Subordinate clause, WH question has been changed to indirect speech, or it is also called reported speech, and after the WH word, which functions as conjunction also, subject, inversion of the subject that takes place. Where have you? Here where he had. He reference to her son, mother's son. He had left the keys. So immediately after, it is not the question form, it changes to statement, where he had left the keys. Next type of sentence, exclamatory one. Gagan said to the guest, welcome. What a pleasant surprise. This is an exclamatory sentence. Gagan said to the guest, welcome, what a pleasant surprise. Now the same has to be changed to indirect speech. Now remember once again that this is the first part, or the direct speech part, where the first part is available. Welcome, what a pleasant surprise is the direct speech. Now how to change the same? By using reporting verb. Reporting verb is also once again that you have to study, which I have been speaking again and again, or telling you again and again, that it is not always said. It goes on changing. Most often in the case of statements, said and tell are used, but in the case of yes or no questions, in the case of WH questions, in the case of imperative sentences and exclamatory sentences, they are rarely used, and we have to think of those examples rather carefully. Now Gagan said to the guest, welcome, what a pleasant surprise. Now the textual sentence, welcoming the guest, Gagan exclaimed, that it was a pleasant surprise. So this is how from direct to indirect it has been changed. You can also write this sentence, Welcoming the guest, Gagan exclaimed that it was a pleasant surprise. The sentence can also be written in another manner also. That is why I have told you that it is not a mechanical exercise. Gagan said to the guest, welcome. What a pleasant surprise is available there. Now, welcoming, because welcome can function or it can be used as verb. That is why welcoming the guest, Gagan exclaimed that it was a pleasant surprise. This sentence is available because the first action when Gagan saw the guest or saw the guest, the first action what Gagan did was he welcomed. Then there was a surprise. What a pleasant surprise. He did not remember or he did not believe that the guest would arrive at that time or he would be there in front of his door. And that was the reason that welcome that has been available there. It was a surprise and immediate reaction along with the surprise when the guest was there in front of his doorstep. What he must do or what he should do was that he had to welcome. And then of course the pleasant surprise or the surprise that has to be, both are together side by side. These two activities are taking place, but the moment when he sees welcome has to take place, that word has to be uttered, then of course the surprising fact is also available. But remember that since it is not a mechanical exercise, we can change the same. Gagan welcomed the guest and exclaimed that it was a pleasant surprise. This is also equally good. Gagan welcomed the guest and exclaimed that it was a pleasant surprise. This is also possible. Some students may write this sentence also. Gagan welcomed the guest. Welcoming the guest, Gagan welcomed the guest and exclaimed. Welcoming the guest, Gagan explained. Gagan welcomed the guest and exclaimed that it was a pleasant surprise. This is also possible. Both are equally good. So keep in mind that some sentences are available in our textbook, and for second PU students in the examination 5 marks question which is available from the text itself, from either most of the times questions are available from the sunny morning, and sometimes the questions are available even from other texts also. And this 5 mark question, that is very important to be remembered, and most of the students commit mistakes in the areas of grammar, either the tense or the words that have to be changed, or else they commit mistakes with regard to the use of reporting verbs or conjunctions. And that is why keep in mind that the fundamentals, the ingredients of tense, the ingredients of reported speech have to be remembered very carefully. After that, you go on doing the exercise, you understand the tense and the text, the sentences very carefully. Keep on doing the exercise so that most of the problems can be solved. And if more problems are available, you can consult your teachers so that it is easy for you to do the work very happily and easily. Hope that This exercise will help you in understanding the reported speech. Thank you, dear students.